back then, so not irrelevant at all. What are you talking about, mate?
All right. Well, we are in. So, yeah, I think we're on your screen first.
Sorry, I didn't have the stream open. I was looking at your beautiful face rather than what was happening over at Wardi's channel. Well, let's do it then. In the top left side of Curious Minds, we're looking at the main base of the man who's currently 1-1 in this league, but that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that my team is 2-0. It's the best Chinese StarCraft 2 player ever. Literally ever. It's time.
And in the bottom right-hand side, it is for Goat and the gang, one of the gangiest members of the gang, the best named animal player ever. It's Bunny.
Fighting against time is fun, man. They actually played against each other in the DreamHack, I don't know if it was like summer season finals or fall. I mean, those all kind of blend together, right? And I was like, man, this is going to be fun because in my mind, they are both hyper-aggressive Terran players. And this was kind of like a best of 5 in the playoffs. Who is going to be the crazier one? Who is going to be the more aggressive one? Well, that got answered, and it was absolutely Bunny. Bunny made a couple of ridiculous drops with like 5 medevacs over 6 turrets and whatnot, and in the end did came out on top. But I think these two are very evenly matched, and I think it's a good way to kick things off here.
For sure. What was the score in that one?
I think it was 3-1 in favor of Bunny, if I recall correctly. I think that was the one that Serral won ultra convincingly, where he only dropped 1 map in the entire tournament. So it must have been DreamHack Masters summer, I think it was. But that was not a very good tournament, but the TVT between Time and Bunny was pretty fun.
All right, we'll talk about aggression, but this time around it's Bunny who's going to open with the quick CC after just 1 barracks and 1 single gas to fuel that off, whereas Time is actually going for the faster factory.
Yeah, Time displayed some beautiful or proper patience as well yesterday in the 2 TVPs that we saw him star in. He lost against Trap, but he made it a very long game, put up a good fight, and he did beat Skillers, I would say somewhat convincingly, even though maybe Skillers threw a little bit. But it wasn't really the Time that I'm used to, because in my mind, Time is just always like in your face. I remember the days where he had a good run in Montreal, and the only thing that was stopping him from going even deeper in those tournaments is that he was often aggressive without ever needing to be aggressive. He'd be up in upgrades, have a bigger army, have a base more, but then he would just only attack with like 60% of his army. And I'm like, why are we doing this, mate? Just chill. Well, so far in this tournament, he's been chilling very hard. It's been the least aggressive Time I've ever seen, but I don't hate it if he gets a couple points on the board.
Yeah, I think it's really good to kind of mix up your playstyle as well. If something's expected, then your opponents... Like, for example, I'm a little bit surprised that against the aggressive reputation that Time has, that Bunny would have gone for this opening, where it's relatively unsafe, right? To just go for a barracks expand off of 1 gas. So Time taking the extra precautions here, but that's going to cost him in this early game, right? He's going to be a little bit behind in terms of economy as a result.
That's wishful thinking, mate. I don't know what you're seeing. I don't see any of that. Just because one guy has an orbital done and the other one isn't even started yet, I don't think that really means anything. Because it's not about what we see right now, CatZ. It's about what Time is planning. And I see a medevac on the production tab. And that's something that Liquid Clum does a lot. Liquid Clum kills a lot of SCVs. So I'm pretty sure 1 minute into the future, Time is looking at a 6-worker advantage. And there is absolutely nothing that Bunny can do about it.
Well, we'll see about that as the medevac is moving out now. And I mean, Bunny does have 6 Hellions. He opened this way against Soul, against Spirit as well earlier. And we were a little bit confused with Wardy as to what this accomplishes. But this time around, it seems kind of perfect, actually, for this kind of poke. Because if he spots the medevac unloading, which he might, will he? Yeah, he will. Then he can move the Hellions, react. All right, there we go. And this should be dealt with.
Bit of lost mining time and SCV going down. That supply depot is not finishing up. I'm loving it. Okay, now maybe I want a little bit more.
Oh, not gonna happen this time around. And it's a Bunny who has already a Raven out with the second one on the way and nearly matching Time's first Raven timing. So it's looking pretty good in terms of scaling and tech as well on the side of Bunny.
I mean, those 5 Hellions, though, what are we going to do with those, memes aside? Because it kind of feels weird to make 5-6 Hellions and just kind of sit at home. Bunny literally hasn't seen anything yet, besides that 1 Reaper that goes towards the top side of the map right now, takes control of the Zelnaga Watchtower. Feels weird to have this many Hellions.
It does, it does. And last time around, he just used them to kind of poke with his initial aggression, I suppose. and they didn't do particularly well. So I think it's just a defensive measure here, off of the fact that he takes the single gas early on, so he has a little bit of excess minerals, and that's just the way that he chooses to spend them, I guess, early on. So I don't think they'll be of much consequence.
Ooh,
But they've in a way already done their job.
Time, let's run to that Widow Mine, mate. You know it's coming. Hey, time!
Oh,
Goodness.
Hellions.
I don't know what Time was doing there. I feel like we saw that coming from a long time ago. The Widow Mine may still connect, so that is at least somewhat decent. That's a good connection as well. A lot of splash damage. That one low HP Hellion. Oh my goodness, come on. No, nice micro by Bunny. Okay, I gotta give it to him. Nice micro.
That was really good. So resources lost already almost double on the side of Bunny. Really, really good. And like you said, I mean, Time a little bit slow to react, to move his units outside of that watchtower, even though he saw the units of Bunny coming. And granted, they're the fastest Terran units in the world, but, you know,
I mean,
still.
I feel like Time's setup is aggro though, right? He's going into Medevac so early. Like, whatever happened to, hey, let's both make tanks and Vikings and then we drop some interference matrices. That's quite wild. Bunny is sending a Raven and a couple of Vikings in the bottom side of the map. I'm almost afraid that Time his Medevacs are going to very awkwardly fly into that. I don't think... Wow, Bunny's going to move out as well at the same time. This game is wild, and I honestly think it's going to be a very short one.
Yeah, it looks like we might have a small base race of some kind at some point soon. And yeah, I mean, those Ravens and the Vikings were perfectly positioned from Bunny, so great awareness of what Time could have been doing. But unfortunately for him, he decides to consolidate. He decides he sat there long enough, and now he has a massive army at the front step here of Time. And he's not actually stopping, which is great for him. He's just going for it by the looks of it.
Okay, Time should just siege up and try to protect the main base, because the natural, obviously, you're not going to do a whole lot about that. This orbital should maybe fly towards the top side, but Marines are very good at killing structures, a lot better than Hellions and tanks. So we are going to cancel Stim on the side of Bunny, and we are right on top of the production immediately. I want to say I don't hate it, but obviously Time is going to take some very big losses at home as well. But the SCVs and Marines are doing pretty good defensively.
Yeah, but those two tanks are disabled, and that means that Bunny's gonna take them down, actually, maybe. Time overextending a little bit too close to his ramp here. Now his main is open, whereas before, like you were saying, he was working on Bunny's production, and Bunny had little ways to get on top of Time's production, but now he's right on top of it. So it's a proper base race right now. And yeah, very difficult to say who's gonna win, but army-wise, I have to favor Bunny, right?
Yeah, the Viking tank combo is very sweet. I hope that at least the upgrades can finish up. But Time tried to go into the natural there. I don't know how much we really got done. Seems like we picked off a Viking or so, but that one tank still going strong. I mean, if we just take... we want to make sure that Vikings don't pop. We really don't want to give Bunny any more units than he already has. Okay, here we go. Now Bunny is going to evacuate his natural too. We should be able to kill a few more SCVs and prevent that factory from finishing up. Kill one of the orbitals. Maybe Time is going to take Bunny's main base and Bunny can take Time's main base.
It looks like that's what we might have. Time is going to be a little bit faster to the main base of Bunny. But I love what Bunny did there. Like, he had the tank in a good position, gets a couple of shells off, kills a couple of units, up to 4 kills on that tank, and then evacuates it with the rest of his SCVs. Hey, SCV-wise... Go on.
Sorry. No, both the E-base did survive, by the way, in the back of the main base, because Bunny was just kind of trying to salvage things at home. But now the 1-1 upgrades did finish up. I know it's not the most impactful thing ever, but hey, 12 Marines, I'd much rather have 1-1 than 0-0.
Yeah, and the thing for Time here is that he lost all of his SCVs, so he's pressured to do something. And with that extra tank that Bunny saved, I think all he has to do is siege and protect here. Don't even go anywhere else, just go in the main and just turtle up. If he knows he has 20 SCVs to 1, or to 2 now, surely he just chills.
He also has the base in the bottom left side. That is very big. That's something that Time really needs to pick up on, because Time lost 2 out of 3 orbitals. Meanwhile, Bunny actually saved 2 out of 3. So that's obviously a very big deal. If Time gets on top of the orbital immediately in the bottom left side, I want to say then I don't even hate it that much. But yeah, 20-2 workers is a very big deal.
Yeah, that's huge. I think this is pretty much done and dusted, because Time has to attack into this. I just want Bunny to siege up. He sieges up, he spreads out the tanks, that's perfect. Everything just protecting his main command center here now, which used to be the main of Time. I wouldn't mind maybe one closer to the ramp, but otherwise this looks just about perfect. Just about unbreachable. It's only the Raven that's scary now.
I wish that Time would have chilled a lot more in his main rather than trying to take that fight at the choke point at the ramp. I think he could have bought a lot of extra time. Just siege your tanks near your orbital, barely in range of the ramp, and then have a bunch of Marines there. every second that goes by would have been a good one for him because Marines are so good at killing buildings, a lot better than tanks and Vikings, but he kind of gave Bunny the fight that Bunny was dreaming of.
I completely agree with you. I mean, both of those tanks kind of just overextended, right? And like you're saying, if they're barely in range of the choke, then they can just tax any units that go up. It makes it awkward for the Raven. All the units are gonna go in a line towards those tanks, so it's less time for those units to get in range, even if the Raven gets the disables. So yeah, that would have been much better for time, but not identifying his win condition, maybe being a little bit greedier than he needed to be in trying to defend or retake his natural. But Bunny had already forfeited his main. I don't see a world where time takes this.
No, not anymore, especially not since the bottom left side has been running for a while. Well, time is going to try to make some magic happen. We have a couple of interference matrices, but it's a beautiful defensive setup from Bunny. He's got his Vikings. Here we go. It's now or never. Time knows it. Interference matrix on 2 out of the 4 tanks. He loaded up a couple of Marines. I'm not exactly sure why we did that. So we lost a lot of potential DPS there. The tanks. Okay. Well, we have a couple of extra Marines showing up, but it is not going to be good enough. GG. What a lame game.
I loved it. It's a good refreshing start for us. We started 0-2 last time around. This time with a win, and yeah, I absolutely love it. And Bunny, I think is good to reiterate. He's playing with a soft cast still, so you know, extra props to him.
Way to needle my boy time. Way to needle my boy time, CatZ. A little unnecessary, if you ask me.
I mean, basically one-handed winning the first match, I think, is something to bring up.
All right. I'm glad that you brought it up. So our second game of this little battle between CatZ's team and my team is going to be between 2 teammates in real life. Shopify Rebellion boys, RotterdaM and Lambo. When I saw this, I just said like, ooh. Like, I didn't know if I liked it or hated it. But one thing I do kind of love is that game that Lambo had earlier against Classic. I love Lambo, and I hate to see him lose. I normally always cheer for him, but I don't mind it if he's a little upsetty spaghetti today. And if I know Lambo a little, games like that do proper tilt him, because those are, I think, the most infuriating losses out there, when you get a nice little setup, when you're worried about X, Y, Z, and 20 Zealots show up. So hopefully Lambo is still kind of steaming, and RotterdaM can just tie things up here.
Yeah, and in our chat, Lambo apologized right away basically to the rest of the gang. He said, I lost to the first adept. That's kind of sad. But I think he took it really well. He said, I'm going to try to do better the next matches, and we are now in the next match. And he also has been in practice lobbies against DNS since then. So, you know, I think Lambo's recovered. I think everyone's now wide awake, and I think we're ready to go. This is a good Zerg map as well.
Yep. Pride of all Taurus, as we are taking a look at the main base of your boys. So go ahead, CatZ.
Hells yeah. And for the Shopify Rebellion and Goat and the gang, it is Lambo the King.
I'm loving the mind games. And in the top left side, we're looking at the main base of the man who's been undefeated so far. He was ultra clutch yesterday. We were down 0-2. Game 3, he played against Youth Thermal, and he turned things around, and it ended up with us winning that battle against the Grubber-Lubber-Dub-Dubs. Can he continue his flawless record? This is the Dutch captain, RotterdaM.
I feel like we should have some sort of like awards for like most unexpected performances and stuff like that. Like I think the most value pick so far has to be RotterdaM, right? Like fourth pick.
He was sick. He was sick yesterday.
Oh, look at him. He's sick right now too. Taking a Nexus first at the gold. Nasty.
Big Brain Gaming. I don't know if this is Rainer approved or if this is RotterdaM just kind of freestyling it. Lambo took a 108 gas. These are like little things that I like to pay attention to because I've been all in a lot in my life. And whenever they take it before like 111, I'm like, uh-oh. This means that link speed is just ever slightly quicker. And there's obviously a chance to maybe do something with Lings and Roaches early on as well. But I don't expect Lambo to do that on a map this big. I think Lambo is very confident in his late game. And this is a map where normally you should always be able to get to the late game as a Zerg if you want to get there. This time around, though, things are going to be a little bit different. And I wonder how often Lambo practices against a Protoss player taking the gold as their first base on Pride of Altaris.
Yeah, I think he prepared specifically for this type of scenario when looking at Katowice, but I don't know that he would have been expecting this in particular from RotterdaM, right? Because RotterdaM is generally speaking normally more of a macro-oriented player, so he's really bringing the mind games here to this clan war, knowing that it's just the best of one format as well. So I like what we're seeing from RotterdaM, and I'm curious to see what the response from Lambo that he has been practicing against this type of build is.
I feel like an obvious one is often, let's just Baneling boss, right? Let's go ahead and Baneling boss the gold. But it feels that that's almost what some Protoss players want. So they get that defensive setup going with a couple of batteries early on. Okay, there is that Baneling. I feel like if you're playing this style RotterdaM, you have to be very well aware of the possibility of getting Baneling busted. The first two links are going to be a little bit annoying. I think
nice.
He tried to build a pylon there, by the way.
Yeah,
he tried to build a pylon. Oh, we need that pylon, RotterdaM. We need that pylon, mate.
Yeah, I absolutely love these Zerglings for exactly that reason. There's the pylon, but it's going down like 15 seconds later than RotterdaM wanted it. That's 15 seconds that he's not going to have a shield battery, for example, that he's not going to have a bigger wall of, right? A lot of Protoss players, for example, will go for gateways here, drop the Robo here, and just drop all of the defense at the gold after having secured their natural expansion.
Battery.
No battery.
No,
battery.
No, we need way more than one. We need way more than one. I mean, RotterdaM is going to see a couple of links. This has to be a big tell. RotterdaM, we need all the batteries, mate. One battery is not going to do it here. I want double pylon, triple battery to even have a chance here.
Yeah, he needs wall-offs as well or something. So this is looking really good for Lambo so far. The battery is going to explode really fast to those Banelings, and the Adepts can actually be counterproductive here because they are actually not strong units against the Banelings. So let's see if Lambo can make something work here, as he's gonna go straight for the battery. The Banelings running after the Adepts instead, as he gets sold full surface area on the batteries. The Adepts are having to evacuate, or trying to anyway. They're gonna shade away, but that leaves the probes open for Lambo to chase them down and potentially kill them. There's no recall available, and there's a wall-off at the natural of RotterdaM. These probes have little space to run.
Yeah, we do have 6 Adepts though. We're now kiting against Banelings like we are a Terran player. Well, yeah, obviously, whenever your probes are here, it is never good. More probes are going to go down here. The captain is in some trouble. Now, Lambo is very committed. Yeah, it's still 23 workers against 21. And we have an Oracle coming out. If we can just put our Adepts in some choke points, this is not actually game over. Like, I'm not even... 15 workers have gone down, and I'm not even hating it.
I think you're dead, to be honest. I mean, the Oracle is going to definitely help, but it's only until it runs out of energy, pretty much. And Lambo's waiting that out. There's additional 4 Banelings likely to detonate into the pylon and the shield battery at once. No, going after the probes instead. And yeah, I'm not sure if I like that as much, but it's going to work out just fine. Could go after the Warpins, now going after the shield battery overcharge. His Lambo will take it down. And yeah, now the Oracle is out of energy. Here comes the second one, though.
Yep, and we have a third one coming up as well, but you're right, like losing those extra probes there, get another battery. Oh, I kind of feel that RotterdaM should have had his Adepts in the choke points. There is a beautiful little choke point between the mineral patches, and I feel like if we just had one Adept permanently there, it would have been lovely. Instead, they've kind of been all over the place. Lambo's doing a really good job in not letting RotterdaM enjoy this gold base. Needs to be careful that he doesn't get too carried away, because Oracle number 3 is almost out. 6 Banelings, can RotterdaM scout it? That would be big.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Now I'm starting to feel like Lambo should just chill for a little bit, make additional queens, make some spores, and just saturate. He's already on three bases.
Well, okay, the Oracles... we see this a little bit late. And once more, I don't like the Adept positioning very much. But we are going to be able to at least split off one of them. Can we save that pylon? No, we can't. And the other pylon is not in range of the shield battery. So this is just going from bad to worse at this point. 4 extra probes going down. We should be able to recall again in the near future. Where are the other Oracles? The Oracle's killing some drones as well. Okay. We are now finding a little bit of damage. It's not like Lambo has a lair or anything. So if we can just keep making Oracles, finally get the double battery set up at the gold. No, don't I think we need to recall probes, right, from the main.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think so as well. Yeah, if you're RotterdaM, the good thing for you is you have those Oracles, right? And a 4th one coming up. So Lambo's still going to have to make queens, I think, for defense, but he's continuing to commit here. The Oracles are all out of energy. That is the 3rd shield battery overcharge that goes down without accomplishing much on the side of RotterdaM, and Lambo is continuing on the aggression. He just knows that the Oracles are out of energy. This is such a reckless maneuver, but it's working out beautifully.
Oracle number 4 is almost out. Another Adept out of position. Oh, and now the other one gets surrounded as well. This is just going from bad to worse at this point. I am so sad we didn't get the double battery setup. I am so sad we didn't just have one adept permanently on hold position between those two beautiful gold mineral patches. That is such a sweet spot for adepts, and it's such a nightmare for Lynx to attack it.
Yeah, and he had 4 adepts, and there's like quite a few chokes. Like there's a couple of mineral gaps there, and he had a couple of artificial ones with his pylons as well. So that works out well for us. Lambo with just knowing what to do in that situation, really. Like I looked at that situation, I was like, you did enough damage, just, you know, make queens and chill. But he knows that the oracles are kind of limited by the energy, and takes us to a 2-0. Beautiful start for us.
Yes, beautiful start for you guys. Not a very beautiful start for me. That's sad, because I actually think if you take the gold, these are one of the this is one of the first things that you think of, and it's one of the first things that you kind of learn how to defend. And we've seen it in other games in the past that bailing busting is not necessarily the best way to deal with it. Like, it can absolutely work, but there is no guarantee. It was really unfortunate that the Lynx blocked the first pylon, because I think if the first pylon went up, that first battery would have been up a bit quicker, and hopefully Harson was just finally able to get that setup that I think he was truly looking for. Now it always felt that we were almost ready, but we were never totally ready.
Yeah, that was absolutely a beautiful snowball effect. Also, I think, I don't know, how do you feel about stalkers over adepts, like maybe for the second 2 or something like that, just to hold off painling busts, or you don't like it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's maybe a bit more pricey, and since he's trying to produce oracles non-stop, maybe you feel like you can't really sneak that in. I think at a certain point, if you have a beautiful defensive setup, indeed, having a stalker in a big choke point, that would indeed be very nice, because they are very tanky. I don't think the adepts were the wrong call. I think the adepts were just always where they were not supposed to be, unfortunately.
Yeah, especially, I guess, with the oracle production, right? Like, you really want that gas. But yeah, I mean, beautiful job by Lambo, and now we are in a prime position to 3-0 you, Roddy. I hate to say, but I don't hate to say it.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I believe the next match you guys are a pretty big underdog, so I'm not too worried yet.
Really?
Yes, you don't think so?
No. I think, yeah.
When is the last time you saw the Prince of Denmark lose a video game?
I mean, not too long ago, I want to say against Hero Marine, he dropped, or did he play Hero Marine yet? Yeah, I thought so.
Never happened.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he lost Hero Marine just yesterday, so.
When is the last time you saw him lose to a Zerg?
I mean, there's just no Zergs to play against, but I want to say the great majority of times that he faces Serral, he goes down, and that's exactly who he's going up against. I mean, you hype him up as the best PvP player in the world. Take that title all you want, Roddy. We got one Protoss, and he's not facing him.
No, I know. I cannot argue against Serral. I mean, your entire team is literally named after him. The GOAT and the gang. Yona is great. You guys are indeed in pole position to do some good work here and make up for the damage you took earlier today against Wardy's team. But I believe in MaxPax. I will always believe. Yesterday we were also down 0-2. We still turned it around. I don't see any reason why one of the sharpest minds in the game cannot cause a little upset here and make the great Jonas Satala drop a map.
Let's see.
In the bottom right side, we are looking at the beautiful orange Protoss main base of the Prince of Denmark. We need him to get a point on the board, otherwise this battle is unfortunately over. This is MaxPax.
And on the bottom left-hand side, the most reliable, the greatest player of all time. It is Serral, the GOAT. And
for a second there, I was like, man, is Raynor already playing? Did I forget to introduce Raynor? But, oh, you're talking about Serral. Okay.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, unlike Raynor, Serral actually goes out and snipes, you know, first seeds, second seeds, plays at a ping disadvantage. Raynor's out there looking for the fifth seed, looking after his record.
Okay, that was Raynor's, well, mostly the team, but also a lot of Raynor's seeding. But I did make the seeding for our battle against Team Special Tactics that are currently leading the entire league. And I was absolutely hoping for Raynor against Rogue, because Rogue was back then the only player to defeat Raynor in the Watchers Team League. Raynor had a perfect record besides dropping one map to Rogue. So I was hoping to square those two off once more, and that worked out perfectly. So that's, you know, for the first two, I'll give it to you, but that's not always true, okay?
True. All right, well, like I love MaxPax and his playstyle, and I think that in the late game, he is one of the better Protoss players. I think lately, after the patch, he's been leaning a little bit more towards aggression in this matchup. But this is a very difficult map to be aggressive on. And if you take it late game against Serral, I mean, I think he's the best late game player to ever do it, really, in this matchup. So what are you hoping to see here from MaxPax?
It's a very good question. I'm looking at Blackburn, and I do agree with your late game statement. I do not want to see this game go past, let's say, 14 minutes. Unless we can just like hit a very sweet carry timing right after that and Serral isn't totally ready. But I don't know. I mean, MaxPax has some cool builds. He's got some unique ways to find his adepts or make sure that his adepts find ways into the middle lane of his opponents. This probe is a little bit sus. I'm not. I don't
Nexus? No
It'd
way,
be big.
right?
It'd be big.
It would be insane. Is what it would be. But I don't know what else he would want to do here. Maybe just trying to spot if the gold gets mined at all from Serral, and then make a shield battery or two, and then just bring adepts or something. But
unless we go Glaives into taking the gold on the wrong side into some Zealot spam, I don't know. No, I think it's indeed just checking to see if Serral's going to go up to 3 bases at the gold or not.
But the GOAT is just going to play it safe, of course. And yeah, we're going to have somewhat of a Glaives timing. Maybe he should have just made Phoenixes and prayed the Roddy team special, no?
I would love to say you're right, but I'm not too sure, mate. If I'm struggling with the 5.2 guys, I don't think that MaxPax should be building too many Phoenixes against Serral. I'd love to see it, but I think he should just do what he does best. He is very good with the adapts, and he's got some cool follow-ups as well. Sometimes even some disrupted drops. Kill the Crypt Tumor. I feel like that Crypt Tumor was in range.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he saw it in time, but yeah, he might have been able to pick that off. Glaives is mostly done, but Serral with a perfect scout as per usual here is going to be aware of everything that's going on. The Roach Warren goes down at a sensible timing, so he should be ready for this. He will need a swell of Zerglings, so the Roach Warren won't exactly be super duper ready, but for the second shade it should be.
Yeah, no, I don't think Serral should take too much damage here, but maybe MaxPax could do something wild. There are many ways to play out with, hey, what are we doing with the... So we're building a pylon, so we can actually warp into it. That does get surrounded, but it lives. We love that. You love to see it. Now we have 2 more random adapts. Serral does find the pylon immediately, so I do truly hope that these 2 adapts can find something. There are a couple of links in the right position, though. And we can't recall those adapts, and that's actually going to be hard to get these boys home. Not exactly the sweet baby dream start, but unit positioning here is good, and we do get the maximum amount of Zerglings at least, so that's something.
That is something, but he's gonna need a lot more than that. The recall, like you said, has already been spent. One of the adepts is bruised. 2 of the adepts fall before getting to put Glaives into good use. And now Serral is droning up after feeling confident that he will hold with a number of links and roaches that he has already attained. So not even having to really scramble for anything. At this point in the game, usually the adepts are about to show up and I'm like, oh my god, I'm making units, I'm about to die. Serral's just like, I'm gonna make 8 drones, I got this.
Adapt into Phoenix. Now, the only thing that would make me happier than seeing this on the production tab is to also see a Dark Shrine in a little bit. And that, in a weird way, I can actually see that work, because Serral might just make a crap ton of Lynx, Roaches, and Ravagers. And if he really commits, then the DTs can absolutely save MaxPax. But going up to 3 bases is going to be a little bit difficult. Not against the Lynx. Oh, we don't want to lose that pylon. Okay, it's a bit of a disaster game so far, isn't it, man?
It is. But I do think that Phoenix are the type of unit that can bring this kind of game back, right? Like if he's not punished for them, if he can get to Dark Templars and then Serral tries to overcommit on the offense or something like that, which is usually what happens to me. It's like a newer kind of approach to CVP since the Queen nerf, right? Like it's harder to get those Queens across to protect the Overseer. So then the Phoenix defensively with Dark Templars are super, super strong. But we haven't seen that Dark Shrine just yet.
No, we haven't seen the Dark Shrine, and the fact that we're now 6 minutes into a PvZ and we are at 2 base Protoss that hasn't really done a whole lot of economic damage yet. It's just very hard to get ultra excited over that. I don't like lifting changelings either. I'm not sure what that was all about, but that is 50 energy that I would like to see used on a drone or maybe a Ravager if Serral does decide to be aggressive. But at this point, Serral just knows, like, alright, Phoenixes, I'm not going to be stubborn, I'm not going to be aggressive. I am just going to drone up like crazy. So you look at 16, 17 drones going down at the same time. And a Hydra then as well. Well.
Yeah, I mean, that is concerning. I think for any Zerg player watching this, you see a Hydra then go down, and all of a sudden, the Protoss feels ahead.
No, I do not want to go that far. I think maybe if he drops a Baning Nest as well, a little combination of Roach Hydra Bane would actually be very good, because don't forget, MaxPax's economy really isn't that sweet. We're still 20 workers behind, and the third Nexus is not totally up and running yet. We're dropping a Robo now.
Yeah, and that is the thing for Serral, right? I think that he identifies that he has had a very good start. He wants to capitalize on that, on those advantages, kind of take care of the Phoenixes as well. They're not going to be great units in the straight-up fight. If he can get enough Hydras and get them across the map before Disruptors show up, that could be a win condition. But I'm afraid that if there is Disruptors out, one Disruptor shot could turn the tides of this game.
I'm going to say something silly, but I actually think I prefer Colossus here over Disruptors.
Cool.
Because I think the Hydras is the only thing that's going to be truly intimidating. And I feel like if we go Disruptor here, how are we going to protect our Disruptors? We have a lot of Lynx counter-attacking, by the way. There are 2 Adepts in a good spot. Battery Overcharge activated immediately. I mean, the last minute and a half really hasn't been that poor on the side of MaxPax, but right when I say that we do lose 2 Phoenixes. And let me tell you a thing or two about Phoenixes. They're pretty pricey, CatZ.
They sure are. These Adepts are not going to finish the Shade there, as they think better of it as they get chased. And we haven't seen the Robotics Bay yet, so no way to answer if it's going to be Colossus or Disruptors. I like the Disruptors better defensively, just because off creep it's so difficult to split units, especially Hydras. And I feel like the Colossus kind of suffer from the same issue as far as buffer is concerned, no?
Yes, I mean, obviously, I think there is a good point to be made for both. I'm like, in a weird way, I didn't even hate it that much, but I'm just sad that our Forge is a little bit late. I feel like right now we need cannons, batteries, and then anything else we have, we spend on units. But at this point, economically, it's actually looking very good for MaxPax. That's, of course, because Serral has been producing a lot of units. I just wish we got those cannons a little bit quicker. Maybe we can drop some sick force fields, but this is not even all that bad. This is not an impossible hold. It's a very difficult hold, but it's not impossible. We have to be very careful. We are going to counterattack with 2 Adapts. It's a shame that the RoboBay is only going down now, but the Adapts are finding a couple of drones. If MaxPax can hold here without losing any probes, he's actually in a really good spot.
Yeah, but that's going to be extremely difficult. I mean, he has been making Immortals, and Immortals do not fare well against the army that Serral has right now. There's mostly Hydras, going to be Ling reinforcements there. They really don't have anything but like a couple of Roaches to be super effective against. And now here's the Force Field trying to buy time, but for what? I mean, the Disruptors are so far away. The Banelings are going to connect them to everything. Now the Phoenix are trying to join the fight, but it looks a little bit hopeless. There is too much Serral here.
Yeah, unfortunately the Phoenixes are away from the battery overcharge as well, so they are not being healed. A couple of Banelings do sneak through, 14 probes go down. I mean, there weren't too many Ravagers, so there was technically some hope for really good force fields. Unfortunately, MaxPax does fall, and that means that the RotterdaM Admirals also fall for the first time this season.
That is rough. I'd hate to kick you. But you did say 5-0 in your favor maybe earlier? Now it's looking like the opposite might happen.
I don't think I said 5-0 against you.
No?
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't dare say so.
Wardy, no?
I'll 5-0 Wardy.
All right.
After he smack talked my team earlier.
Yeah, it's still Lambo there smack talking Raynor, asking him if he's mad. As Raynor has been using the mad quite a bit with the interrogation sign backwards. Yeah, masterclass from Serral.
Got a little close, man. I wish that we had our Forge finishing up a little bit quicker. We would have spaced out the cannons a little bit, because Serral was actually very committed there. He was on 3 bases for an ultra long time. And it was a good army, but it wasn't like an invincible army. If we would have been able to land some sweet baby force fields, a good battery overcharge, I definitely see a world where you can hold against that attack, even if the early game wasn't all that pretty. And then I think it could have gone different, but it is what it is. It's always difficult to go up against one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think seeing the Hydras from the perspective of MaxPax is a big tell, though, that Serral has to be aggressive, right? Because Hydras don't really scale that well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he maybe prepared a little bit too fast also, because the Hydras, I mean, they don't, you can't attack with just a small number of Hydras. They just fall apart so hard to Zealots if you don't have a lot to just kind of DPS whatever shows up to the front. So I think he had time for a little bit of the tech units instead of like just spamming like the lower tier units. And
Yeah,
then
he made a
maybe
lot
there
of
was hope.
immortals. It felt that he was indeed very
Yeah.
worried about a high number of roaches, but it really there were barely any roaches. The only roaches that were really on the battlefield were the ones that were contesting the adepts in the top left side. But it was very obvious that MaxPax was worried about way more roaches than just those few, and did not expect to be attacked by Hydra Bane. And it wasn't really like in overwhelming numbers, right? It's not like it's like wow, there is nothing but Zerg. It's like okay, that's a decent amount of Hydras. It's a decent amount of Banelings. But there is definitely a universe where a lot of Zerg players would mess that attack up, and then the Protoss could run away with it. Unfortunately for us, Serral's not one of them. Even though it's 0-3, that doesn't mean there is nothing to play for. Of course, just in case of tiebreakers and whatnot, getting map wins on the board is very important. And players always care about their personal pride and their personal records too. So this one is far from over, CatZ. Don't you dare! You're just gonna think that you're gonna 5-0, my boys. It's not gonna happen. So we're taking a look at the beautiful main base of our orange Zerg. We're down 0-3, but he should be able to get a point on the board here. He is our captain. It's Raynor.
And in the bottom left-hand side, it is the greatest French Protoss with a 3-lettered name to ever play the game, RotterdaM.
That's very mean to Todd, man. I'm gonna send that to Todd.
Oh crap! I can't believe you thought of Torres that quickly. Yeah. I guess he would be a strong contestant there.
Pretty good French Protoss, 3-letter name.
That is true.
I feel like there was another one, though.
True. You know what? I was trying to think about it. I didn't think of Todd somehow. So, yeah, if there's another one I'm missing too, that's embarrassing.
I guess most of them had a few more. Huck is French Canadian, but that doesn't really count.
That doesn't count. Wait, is he actually French Canadian?
No, I don't think he is, but that's what somebody wrote in the chat. I was like, there's very little French Canadian in Huck, I think.
Yeah, I think he's
I
like
mean, we're really stretching
Canadian.
is like he's got like sort of a Canadian passport and half of Canada is French. Wow, Huck's got to be really offended about that statement.
Yeah, he was friends with Desro. That's about as close as it gets, I think, for him. But yeah, we have, I mean, this should be the most favored matchup for you guys. DNS has been practicing the matchup, however. You know, I saw an awardee tournament, DNS 2-0 Raynor. I saw the brackets. I didn't see the games. I posted it in my team chat. I was like, oh, that's a beast. And yeah, DNS didn't say anything. He was just like, yeah. But then I found out that Raynor was playing Terran in those.
He was playing Terran and those games were very close as well.
I just love that DNS didn't say anything, you know?
I mean, would you? Somebody is like, hey,
yeah, I think so, yeah.
You'd be like, yeah, I did. That's right, Captain. Are you proud of me?
Yeah. DNS is a funny guy. He's an excellent player, though. He's our fifth pick, of course, against your first pick on a mostly favored Cirque map, I would say. So if he takes this one, I mean, he just destroys the Roddy Admiral's morals, I think.
Our morale is very strong, CatZ. It is not about how we start this tournament, it's about how we finish. And the only thing that's really important is that we finish above Benny and the other boys, but I kind of want to win it all, and I know that my team can win it all. You know, need a bit of luck with the matchups as well and the seeding. I left this one up to Raynor, and I didn't hate it that much on paper, but, you know, all the teams are good, right? It's not like any of us did something really dumb and we just selected 5 very average StarCraft 2 players. It only makes sense that this league is going to be close and competitive, and sometimes things go your way, sometimes it doesn't go your way. As long as we peak in the playoffs, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, regardless of this result, you're already up at 2-0, which is a really good start, right? Like you got the 2 wins yesterday. Really close, well thought out victories too. I thought the lineups were actually looking pretty decent for both Ravi and Zombie Grab on those.
I absolutely agree, and that's why I told Raynor, all right, that's enough, mate. From here on out, I'm gonna do it. But this one was already sent in, so I couldn't have changed it. I don't know if I really would have changed a whole lot, but I mean, in the end, it doesn't matter. There were possibilities for Hearthstone to win on Pride. There were possibilities for Maxi maybe on Blackburn, even though that's always hard. That Oracle is actually finding quite a bit of damage, and it lives. Well done by DNS. Not the prettiest start here for Raynor.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he does get the 2 Adepts, so all in all, it's not the worst start for Raynor either. It's about even, right? Like, the Oracle almost dies. And I think all day, just 2 drones, or 4 drones for 2 Adepts. Not the worst.
No. If you compare this Nexus as well to the one we saw in the previous game, of course, completely different builds, and DNS does not have the 4 gas setup that MaxPax already had, but that Nexus is a solid 2 minutes quicker. So that's absolutely going to boom that Protoss economy if Reynor can do anything about it. And with these oracles flying around, and we're even going into triple oracles, so something that Showtime is very fond of. I don't think Reynor can really do a whole lot about it. On the other end, we know Reynor is a very confident individual. He'll probably look at him and be like, yeah, sure, mate, go ahead and have your 3 bases. I'll just focus on what I'm doing on my side of the map and make sure that I'm ready for whatever follow-up you're going to throw at me. Because I know it's going to be something. Because if you do nothing, it's most likely going to go my way.
Ooh, but I think there's a shade. No, it didn't complete onto the natural base. The adepts are just going to go back. And the oracles are going to go straight into the main, actually through the middle, which where there's guaranteed basically to be a Sporkler shooting at you right away. So I'm not sure if that's the best angle that the oracles could have taken. The third one is now joining in. And yeah, we've been seeing a lot more of this 3 oracle opening also come back after the patch.
Yep, DNS is flying very deeply into creep. Just want to drop a revelation. Good to see it didn't miss.
Wait, who missed yesterday? Someone missed, right?
Someone missed the revelation yesterday.
it was you. You said like it's the world first.
No. It's pretty rare. I like to tease Cuckoo because Cuckoo a while ago missed an EMP with enhanced shockwaves on an observer in surveillance mode. I was like, wow, I'm not sure if that's more impressive than missing a revelation or not, but it's got to be close.
That's amazing. Yeah, maybe he doesn't have the flyer helpers. Everyone should turn those on.
I mean,
or I guess that wouldn't help against observer, huh?
Enhanced shockwaves. No, if you don't see it yet, I guess it wouldn't display.
Yeah. Millie from Reynor. A very late Millie at that, so probably just gearing up to go for the +2 for bailing harass later in the game.
Yeah, Roach Ravager Bane. It's something that he was basically doing yesterday against Mana as well. Decided to also bring the queens to the battlefront at a certain point. These oracles are becoming proper annoying, man. I'm actually starting to mod a little. It's 15 drones going down on the side of Reynor, and this is really starting to add up. Like losing 1 or 2 drones early on, not that big of a deal. And it's not that Reynor's economy is in shambles, but losing 15 drones and not having killed one oracle has gone down, but 15 is still, I think, slightly more than we're supposed to lose, and we're going to end up losing a few more. Oh, yeah, DNS is playing pretty good so far.
Yeah, he's playing fantastic, going after the quick storm now, trying to protect his base, but Reynor knows that there is likely to be a probe there, as he just killed a Salad and another probe over there. So, yeah, kind of doing a good job of delaying this fourth, and his creep spread is magnificent as well, but I have to agree, DNS is doing a pretty good job so far. Not really going for any kill move off of those kills on drones, so a lot of the time it's good to just, you know, force the Zerg to want to resituate their economy for the later stages in the game and hit a timing kind of like Classic did against Lambo earlier.
I am totally relating to what you said to Wardy, by the way, earlier, where you're like, man, I love casting Serral, but now I'm just kind of not feeling it. And that's kind of what I have here as well. I always love casting my boy Reynor, especially if he's part of a team, so I can be ultra biased for him. Yeah, if we're down 0-3, it doesn't quite spark the same kind of excitement as I normally feel.
Yeah, I know. It feels so bad every time you remember it, right? It's, yeah. And yeah, I am just, on cloud 9 right now. I'm just chilling, you know, like whatever happens here, pressure's off for the most part. But if DNS takes it, it's fantastic. So yeah, this is the way to watch StarCraft for sure.
No, it's really not. This is like, I had way more fun yesterday. Okay, another Oracle does fly into a Queen. Okay, we're gonna donate Oracle after Oracle. It's very nice of DNS. This is indeed the way to watch StarCraft, CatZ. You're onto something.
Yeah, I do like the army that DNS is going for, though. If he can hit a good timing before Broodlords are out, he should have a very strong army. A lot of the problem is going to be the creep as well.
Reynor is setting up for like a lot of attacks. There's a couple of Banelings morphing on the left side. We might be able to get an Archon. A couple storms go down. The Warp Prism could have saved that Archon, I think. But DNS was a little late on that one. The Banelings coming in from the left side. Ward is already showing them. DNS is paying attention, but that SimCity is kind of awkward, actually. There's only one way for those probes to evacuate, and most of them at least get out. A lot of the barriers were popped there from a single corrosive pile. I think Reynor is having a good time, but he needs to be careful, because DNS's supply is definitely getting up there. And maxed out Protoss is always intimidating if you don't have the ultimate late game Zerg army. Ooh, more banelings, by the
Yeah.
way, into the third. I love it. I love it. I love it.
The Archon could have blocked there, but well, nice warp in there towards the end. Prevents all of the probes from going down. And I actually quite like the SimCity from the end. It buys him a lot of time to react to this aggression that is to be expected from Reynor. He's now working on his first carrier. And Reynor is going for 12 Muta. This need to find damage pretty much because they're not going to scale too well into the late game.
He sees that War Prism, by the way, on his minimap, but it seems like he doesn't want to reveal the Mutas to the War Prism. So he's just going to try to jump on top of all the Immortals. DNS is actually a little bit out of position, but he does have a lot of cannons and batteries. Can we just YOLO swag these Mutalisks on top of this Protoss army? That's kind of the big question. DNS is going to see all these Mutas now. What are we going to do? Mutas going to fly into the natural. Raider's making some questionable attacks here, but the Mutas will find a lot of damage in the back of the natural.
Yeah, but I kind of agree with you. With only one Archon there protecting the army, he could have gone after the High Templars first, perhaps. Though maybe the shield battery is a little bit scary. He doesn't have that many Muta. He is finding a lot of economic damage here. Reynor is, as DNS prepares to the carrier transition.
Yep, that was a slow warping on a couple of those Stalkers, and it's very painful. So DNS loses 2 Stalkers that I don't think he had to lose. He's going to end up losing a few more. Reynor does walk into a big storm there. Those were very, very juicy storms. The Immortal count is getting up there, but the Immortals are not that great against Mutas. But the carriers should be able to deal with just a couple of Mutas. We have random Zealots now on creep, and that War Prism is still going to try to sneak into the main base as well.
Yeah, the economy of DNS is so low now, only at 50. There is a little bit of a solid warping here that could try to equalize things a little bit. Of course, Reynor is going to have an easier time replenishing drones being a Zerg. But yeah, his Muta were incredibly successful. 31 probes have gone down. And that's a problem when you're trying to max out on very expensive tech units.
Why do you think he's not making any Phoenixes? You just feel like he thinks Reynor is going to stop with the Mutas. These are the only Mutas that Reynor will make, so he doesn't want to invest in Phoenix or suck in the fight.
Yeah, I think so, because he's broke as well, right? Like after the Muta. So I think he just has like to go for a one punch and hope that his army is big enough to just outright beat Reynor like twice. Seems rather unlikely right now, but yeah, Phoenix are not going to help him in the fight, I guess.
Prism in the main is good though, especially while showing the big Protoss army on creep. Reynor terribly out of position is going to be forced to sacrifice the base with the rich Vespian Geyser. We will finally take care of this War Prism, but not before the Zealots make it out of the natural too.
Nice.
So Reynor is forced not to just sacrifice one base, but it's 2 bases here. We do still have 73 drones, and we've got 28 banelings morphing at once. On creep, I want to say that's going to be more than enough. Reynor's got 56 banelings in total, and he's going to go for it, CatZ.
Yeah, and this should be it here. I don't see a way that DNS will do this. Those storms will soften the banelings up, but they'll still connect onto everything. And this just looks to be a little bit too much Reynor. And he will take one for Roddy's Admirals.
Well, good splits by DNS, but yeah, just overwhelming numbers. Beautiful engagement by Reynor, even though the left side came a bit before the other one, but that also allowed those banelings eventually to get the sweet connections. Those Mutas are actually still just going to town on the probes. So Reynor will keep his undefeated record in the CatZ Civil War.
Jesus,
so
one of those. I clicked on one of those Muta. I had 14 kills.
that's a lot of
the one
kills.
remaining has 8.
Hey, where were the carriers, by the way? Why didn't he bring the carriers?
Maybe chasing the Muta.
But imagine if DNS takes that fight, because it was actually getting a bit close towards the end. Imagine if he has 6 extra Zealots show up and he's got 2 carriers for that entire fight.
Yeah, I think he could have won the fight, but still the Remax from Reynor, I think, would have, in the end, got him pretty good. This carrier transition was just really so difficult to pull off after the Muta did damage. So I think if DNS could have just held on for a little bit longer and gotten a little bit closer to max, then his plan was kind of looking good, but it looks impossible now.
Yeah, we have a couple of safety corruptors on the map as well, 8 of them in total. We can just right-click those 8 corruptors on the 2 carriers. Love the fighting spirit here of DNS. Trying to give you guys the 4-0, but let this be a lesson, CatZ. No one. And I mean absolutely nobody. 4-0's the Admirals, okay?
But for one, still on the table, so we'll see if that can happen.
GG, Reynor gets a point on the board. Unfortunately, it's too late for us to win this Clan War team battle. But it's good to see Reynor do his thing. Always enjoyable. DNS played a good game, though. I think a lot of things went well. Kind of sacrificed the Oracles at one point at a very random moment. Just clicked them above Queens. And then he was not totally ready for the Mutas. If that would have gone slightly better, maybe he would have had a realistic shot at actually winning this game.
Yeah, those oracles could have even just cleared creep. The creep completely got out of control in this game to where Reynor was just in the face of DNS wherever he wanted, and he could move so quickly from base to base to make things happen. So I love the Muta just because they are kind of like faster, high tempo units, whereas a lot of the time you make the Muta and like the Protoss deflects them and they feel like they did nothing. But with the setup that he had, just the option to be aggressive the entire way through. Beautiful game from Reynor.
I wonder if it's ever worth it to cancel. Okay, my Battle.net is just completely. My Battle.net is just gone. I cannot connect, but I can also not disconnect. We're gonna try this again. I wonder if it's ever worth to cancel your carrier production and then just fire up a couple of Phoenixes, because carriers build so long that if you're already going 4 carriers, it's like 60-70% in, but by the time that carrier is actually out, you've already lost 20 probes. So maybe it's better to free up some resources, warp in a couple Stalkers, and then also go into a few safety Phoenixes.
Yeah, I think right away when he sees the Muta, that could have been a good option. Unfortunately, he went for the carriers and the Muta did their damage, so then he couldn't even afford any more carriers. And then, if you have 1 carrier, it's pretty useless.
Yep. I still wonder what would have happened if he brought those carriers on creep. I'm trying to connect, by the way, to NA. Battle.net is just doing its Battle.net thing, but just to let Wardy know. I am trying. That spinning circle. I see it when I go to bed late at night, CatZ. I close my eyes, establishing connection. It only allows me to play offline, but I'm gonna try again. I think the next time it will work. I feel like I'm an expert on the spinning wheel. I think at this point it's going to work.
It sounds like you're gambling there.
No, it's
like,
pain.
No, this time it's red for sure.
It is pure pain. The wheel is spinning, but I'm in, boys. All right, I've made it.
You won.
Berlingrad 4. CatZ against Armani. I think it's actually kind of nice for CatZ to maybe play this without too much pressure. Obviously, yesterday didn't go totally his way, but I think he played well. He got very close to beating Showtime. He had a cool build, got ultra unlucky with that silly Nexus. Now he can just play a TVZ without too much pressure, hopefully show his best gameplay, and then you can get rid of that personal 0 that you have, right? Even if it's not for the win in the team battle, the clan war, it will be very nice for CatZ to pick up his first map win here, and that should give him a lot of confidence for the rest of the season.
Yeah, most definitely. And yeah, this would have been the first match that I'm ever not rooting for CatZ, I think. But I mean, I'm still kind of rooting for my boy here to take it. I wouldn't mind the 4-1, and Armani is also 0-1, so and one of the lower seeds in our team, so it would be nice also for him to gain some confidence. And they're pretty evenly matched, I think.
Still allowed to cheer for CatZ, CatZ. Nobody will hold it against you. Like, eventually down the line, everyone will become a fan of the Admirals. So it's okay, even if you have your own team, even if you got the GOAT in the gang and a couple of amazing players, there is no shame in cheering for my boys, CatZ. We welcome you as a fan. You can even be a super fan on Wardy's Kickstarter.
Yes, indeed, but I have to cheer for this guy who is going to take his first map win here, no doubt, without the pressure. In the top left-hand side of the map, it is Armani.
I think you're going to have to give that super fan thing a second thought. You'll be joined by a lot of people that like your stream too, CatZ. It's a very warm and cozy environment. In the bottom right side, we're looking at the main base of our citizen of the world. Born in Brazil, lived in America for a while, currently living in the Netherlands. This is CatZ.
Highly motivated. CatZ for this team league was happy to be one of the last 2 picks here. DNS being the last pick of the league.
I mean, he was obviously super happy ending up in such a warm nest like the RotterdaM Admirals. We welcomed him with open arms. Everybody wanted Diego on board. How can you not be happy? And even if you have to play a match every now and then, it doesn't matter where we didn't win. CatZ knows that where we really need to come, we need him to come in through, is the playoffs. And we're going to see him in the playoffs, CatZ. I'm not even worried.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Diego is a player who always looks incredibly impressive against players of lower caliber or even on the ladder. But for some reason, at the highest level, like I'm not even sure what he's liking, because he seems very strong in terms of micro. And I think he's a very intelligent player as well. So I don't know what to put it down to. Like, I know everyone's amazing in their own right, but I don't know. I don't know if he tries to get a little bit too creative with his aggressive strategies or something like that, or what's holding him back. But he definitely has insane potential.
Yeah, it's funny to think about because CatZ is obviously a fun Terran player who likes to be aggressive. We know that he's good the moment he's got 4 medevacs full of bio units out on the map, and you can expect those medevacs to sneak in on multiple locations, and he'll properly babysit those drops. He'll micro his units, but it's not like he's got bad late game, right? He's actually pretty damn good with the tanks and the gulls and the liberators. So if you are kind of good at both of those things, yeah, then you kind of expect to be a very complete Terran player, which I think he is. Maybe it's just a matter of time. Maybe the best of CatZ is yet to come, even though he's had some good success in his career. Maybe he can do even better than he's shown us so far.
Yeah, maybe so. And on the ladder, he always gets like very high rated, right? Like very high MMR as well. So he is beating all of the top players all the time. It's just not usually when it matters. So I'd love to see him perform. We'll see if he can here, as Armani in his own right is a very high rated player on the Korean server. And one of the very few CERT players in this tournament as well. So we'll see if he can take a rare CVT here. Ooh, Overlord speed. I love it.
I mean, the way that I see Armani is obviously mechanically a strong Zerg, but it's mostly with the basic Zerg units, right? You give him a lot of links, Bang links, Mudas, Roaches, Ravages. I feel like those are the units that he excels with. Any unit after that, I don't think that's necessarily the best part of his game.
Yeah, and I know you said for CatZ he is a very strong late game player, but I think maybe compared to most other like strong late game players, that's maybe where he lacks too, right? Like, because I think he's best also with the basic unit, so maybe we're getting set up for a brawl of sorts here.
Yeah, no, stylistically, this is a fun matchup between these two because there's supposed to be just a lot of battling in the early mid game, and we're just gonna throw a lot of units at one another. CatZ is going for the traditional Hellion Banshee opening here on Berlingrad. I am curious to see how good the Banshee control will be, and also which angle and which direction he takes to the other side of the map. Oh, did he cancel Cloak? Okay, he cancelled Cloak. The moment it got scouted by one of the Overlords, he decided to cancel it immediately.
All right, so mostly defensive purpose for the Banshees. Of course, they can find a drone here and there, but they're gonna have to be a lot more careful. And Armani will most likely be expecting them. Very nice Overlord speed here from Armani in this early game as he tries to block this off with an Evo chamber, but it's a little bit too late. So 2 drones go down and only damage on one of those Hellions.
Yep. No, so far so good for CatZ. Triple CC is up and running. We haven't really flown it to the correct location yet. Wow, we're gonna go double Evo chamber before a lair. I don't know if Armani knows who he's dealing with over here, but CatZ is a feisty admiral. You give that man stim and combat shield, he's going to be in your face. Having late access to Baneling speed, I think is actually going to be pretty problematic for Armani.
Yeah, no Baneling nest yet. To be honest, I do suffer from this double Evo chamber syndrome myself. I pretty often go for this, and it really bites you whenever the Terran player is patient enough to like mass a lot of bio units and you don't have Baneling speed, right? That is really when it bites you back. We'll see if CatZ is going to have set patience, though.
That was beautiful, actually. Killing a queen this early on, and still hasn't really a whole lot. A single Hellion went down. I'm absolutely liking the pace that CatZ is showing us so far here in this game. Doing a good job in creeping and keeping the creep at bay. It's just a couple of creep domains right on the edge of the hatchery, but that's kind of it. And I'm looking forward to this first push. I'm a strong believer in a lot of success in roughly 90 seconds for CatZ.
All right, we'll see if your success materializes, as there isn't really a fourth at the moment for Armani, no macro hatch either. So really, it's not going to be any sort of... Okay, there's the macro hatch, so that's a little bit relieving as far as extended engagements go, because he's really relying heavily on Zerglings. So if you don't have that macro capacity, actually drops the fourth as well. So yeah, in a minute or two, he's going to have a lot better production, right? Like for those extended engagements. Because otherwise, if CatZ breaks through once, he's just gonna close out the game.
Love that scan. We get all 3 of the forward creep tumors. Queens are actually a little bit off creep there for a split second. That man needs to be careful because I feel like he hasn't really kept track of the Marines. And imagine if those Marines would have been there already with Stim. Now 10 Banelings are on the way. 1-1 upgrades are close to finishing up for Armani, and Baneling speed has been fired up too now. So with a bit of luck, he's actually going to have bailing speed for the first proper engagement, and that's going to make his life a little bit better. But that's also going to be the only thing, right? This is going to be pure Link Bane, maybe backed up by a couple of queens. It's still going to be pretty hard, because a lot of these Hellions can also morph into Hellbats. That Link counterattack could be good, though. This is important we pay attention, and we do pay attention. You love to see it.
Oh, but actually evacuating some of the units from the natural expansion, forced to pull back, which buys time for Armani that he much needs to finish that bailing speed that you're talking about, as well as the 1-1 upgrades that just finished for Armani. This Hellions with a nice catch, however, into some of those Earthlings. But CatZ not really in position to exploit the timing that he potentially had there.
Still, this is not too bad, I think, because when lots of links did go down there. But you're right. Obviously, what CatZ really wants to do is be in the face of the Zerg player right now, get a beautiful setup with his tanks, and start showcasing some of the beautiful Terran Micro. We throw down a scan. We're going to pick up the Creep Tumors once more. Not a single active Creep Tumor remains. I kind of like the fact that we still have that Banshee. The Banshee is very healthy. Greens are a little bit clumped up. Can we save them? Yes, we can. At least a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, all the Banelings already went down. CatZ not really taking too many losses from those on the Marine front, which is the important thing, kind of microing right outside of creep and baiting Armani out of creep. This is looking now very difficult for the Korean Zerg, as CatZ will push on forward. There's the Hellbats that you were talking about. There will be Banelings to account for those, but that means less Banelings to account for the Marines, and no real amount of links to clean up here. But CatZ forced to pick up, which could end up being enough for Armani. That said, CatZ kind of redropping now with the Marines spread out. Gonna be much more difficult to find those Bailing connections, and the links are gonna bleed into the remaining Marines.
Yeah, there was a little link counterattack during this as well. 8 SCVs did go down, but a lot of links did go down in the entire process too. Yeah, I feel like CatZ made it a bit too complicated there. I would have loved to see him just split the Hellbats a bit more and then just kind of run little squads of Marines, the pick up and then the drop. But Armani had a few more forces than I think he was anticipating. Still not bad, but we can't really take any more damage at home. And ideally, we do find a little more with our next move out than we found so far.
Yeah, the pickup for me was a little bit strange. I feel like he could have just spread those Marines, like you were saying, a little bit better. And maybe it was because of the run-by. I wasn't really looking at the run-by, so maybe he thought I need to look at this run-by and load those medevacs. I'm not sure if the timing lined up for that. Because otherwise, yeah, it was a little bit weird of a pickup for sure.
At this point, Armani's 2-2 upgrades are done. CatZ doesn't quite have 2-2 yet. Is he paying attention to these Marines? I feel like he wasn't, but somehow is able to save almost all of them. I think a little lucky there.
Yeah, Armani not making way for those Banelings to connect, just kind of not looking either. Attack moves, and all the links get the surround, which block the Banelings from connecting for long enough that CatZ has the opportunity to react. Now CatZ is pushing the same area that he had weakened earlier. We don't mind the mix now.
Very nice for his Widowmine shot though, on like 10 plus Zerglings. Take those all week.
Take those all week indeed. Nice corner here for CatZ as well to kite a little bit, shave off a couple of Zerglings, but Armani has done a good job of re-establishing his creep. CatZ now has a fourth nearly completed, though the position is, I don't know, it's gonna float all the way over to the other side.
There is a fight happening on the top right side, and I was taking a look at that one, and CatZ absolutely wasn't. He ran 3 or 4 Widowmines head first into a couple of Banelings, and the Marines also just kind of stood there. So not only does Armani push CatZ back in the center, Armani also takes a very good fight in the top right.
That is good, as the Lurker then is now starting to appear here for Armani. He already has Hydras in play as well. A lot of medevacs from CatZ, so Armani has to be sure to clean this army off. Otherwise, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Not too many Widowmines, however, so that's going to be good. And the Marines are forced to get lifted off.
I mean, good target fire there, and CatZ is working on his 4-base setup. That is going to morph into a planetary fortress, but that hive is pretty much done. And only now Drilling Claws is going to finish up. With that Lurker then finishing up as well. I feel right now we've got 2 minutes to still have a lot of fun with bio units. After that, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, nice opening from Armani here, but those 2 or 3 Widowmines deterring the rest of the units of Armani. I love this move, by the way. I was talking to Lambo a little bit about this. Like, I feel like it's always worth it to just, like, your links are about to die, just burrow them. You force a scan, that's a win.
Absolutely. And very often they don't actually scan immediately. You can just unburrow them a little bit later. And then it's really hard for Terran players to react because they don't get the heads up on the minimap that something is coming. It's just there immediately. So well done by Armani. 6 lurkers on the way, and Seismic Spines is 30 to 40% done. I do feel if CatZ wants to win this game, we need something big in the near future. And I don't know if we're going to get it here in the top right side, as we are trying to micro, but Armani just has done a great job in making sure he never runs out of units. Every single important fight, he's always had those extra units coming in when he needed them the most, and he hasn't really been in a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, and I was about to point out the fact that Armani also has units pre-spread, something that is not easy to do for most players. Very, very well done from CatZ in those splits, trading very efficiently against those units, but at the same time, Armani also gets to defend his newfound base. So good on either side, right? Like Armani just having the presence of mind to have those units there in the first place, and CatZ making the best to micro against them.
This minimap is starting to look very intimidating. CatZ, it seems like he has just given up on finding success with just the Marines and Marauders and Widow Mines, as we have dropped 4 command centers at once. And that is something that good old Spirit loves to do as well. I guess we're going to just slowly but steady try to make a successful transition into a lot of tanks and a lot of Ghost.
Yeah. Armani is scrambling a little bit more. Now he has to be really careful with those Widow Mines. That's a lot of units to commit onto a small amount of bio, which could be very dangerous to clump up against the Widow Mines. And Armani was actually moving his entire army for a second there towards the south. So kind of, you know, not maybe as sure-footed as he was earlier with his hotkeys. And now he has a nice split of units, however, to defend either side. And lurkers are on the field, but so are ghosts.
I have the feeling that Armani just says, alright, CatZ, you can have the 4 bases that the Terran player often does or often gets on Berlingrad. But the moment you try to spread yourself thin across 5, I will be there with all my lurkers, all my banelings, and it's going to be very hard for you to do something about it. CatZ is going to try to buy some more time. A parasitic bomb goes down in the middle of all these manifacts. Good split there by
Oh, nice Overseers. I absolutely love Overseers in front of the army against Widow Mines. It's something that, again, I don't see very many players use, and I think it's extremely potent if you can time them just right. And now Armani has identified that there's a lot of exposed command centers here as well in this base. He will get a very good position here. The Ghosts are going to struggle to go down. The Banelings are looking after the SCVs, and they're going to find them if this BF falls. It's a great victory for Armani. And on the other side, he's also swarming the 3rd base of CatZ. Things are looking red. Things are looking goat and the gang.
GG's, CatZ. GG's. It was a pleasure doing business with you. Don't you worry. This is not the last you've seen of my admirals yet. We will be back.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll see each other somewhere. How many teams make it to the playoffs even? I don't even know.
It's 6 out of 8, but if you finish top 2 in the group stage, you immediately get seeded into the semifinals. Nice. So top 2 is very important.
Sweet. That is pretty cool indeed. I love that by Armani not revealing. It's like what you were talking about earlier. When there is enough chaos, you can just burrow some of those links preemptively. So not trying to burrow extra links to give away that there is those links there for a further aggression. But yeah, at this point, I mean, it looks very, very difficult for CatZ.
That attack was really unfortunate for Diego, because he actually had 2 medevacs full of bio units still standing there, and 0.1 second before all the lurkers shown up, he actually picked up all those units and he sent the medevacs out. He just did not expect Armani to run into that planetary fortress and the tanks with his lurkers. He probably thought that Armani was gonna try to deny a 5th base, but not actually run into his 4-base setup. But right when all those bio units left, that's when the lurkers shown up. Even if those bio units were at home, I'll be honest, it would have been hard against that many lurkers, but probably would have gone a whole lot better than it ended up going this time around.
Yeah, they stall a lot longer, right? And then the Ghost can get in a better position to where the lurkers aren't sieging all of those bases at once. So maybe he takes damage, but not lethal damage. CatZ is going to tap out, and we are going to take the 4-1 victory. Very nice.
Think it's time for a break. No. Good games all around. I think you guys did good with the seeding. It was pretty smart. I think it worked out for you guys in a good way, but I think it were still close moments, right? I think if Harstem gets those batteries up a little bit quicker, has his adepts in slightly better spots near the gold, maybe he saves himself from that Baneling boss and he can actually just walk away with that game, because Lambo was obviously very committed. And I think the opening match as well, I'm thinking back of it now, it was... Who was in our... Oh, yeah, the TVT. Oh, man, I didn't even hate that initial base trade that much. I kind of thought it was going to work out well for my boy Time, but Bunny did a good job in handling all the crisis, and
Yeah, it was
a
close to
well-deserved victory for you guys, CatZ. GG's, mate.
Thank you. And yeah, I mean, it's a relief not to go down 0-2, but to tie 1-1 in the day.